Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Thursday, the 12th of September. Reading through the Psalms with McShane, we read Psalms 56 and 57 today. Psalm 56, a psalm of David with a superscript, when the Philistines had seized him in Gath. So clearly under threat. And he says in verse 3, when I am afraid, I put my trust in you, in God, whose word I praise. In God I trust and am not afraid. What can mere mortals do to me? And as I read that, I thought, well, if you read David's story and you just read the rest of the psalm, mere mortals can do a lot. He's hiding in Gath because Saul's pursuing him, threatening to kill him. So he's escaped and his life is on the line. If he goes back to Israel, to Judah, he's going to be caught and executed. And as you read through the rest of the psalm, he says things like, my enemies are in hot pursuit. They press their attack. They pursue me all day long and are attacking me. They twist my words, they conspire, they lurk, they watch my steps. And so he has these things that his enemies are doing. And so clearly, mere mortals can do a whole lot to him, and he recognizes that. So as I read that, looking at his fear of the people around him and the threat that they were posing, and then his notion that what can mere mortal do to me? I believe he's saying that if you're trusting in God as he is, then those threats are not really significant. You say, God's got me. God made these promises to me. I can trust in God. God will deliver me. And we see that on a number of occasions where people encouraged him to kill Saul and take on the kingdom because that's what was promised. And his position was, no, I'm not going to do that. God will end Saul's life at the right time. I'm not going to hasten it. I'm going to keep out of it. I'll leave it in God's hands. And it's almost like he's saying, when I call on God, when I trust in God, as I've prayed, when I'm afraid, I put my trust in you. I am afraid. I see what's going on around me. And I have this fear and there's this threat. And at that point, I put my trust in you, in God whose word I praise. And it's not that at that point, all of those fears, all those enemies just suddenly, poof, disappear and you've got nothing left and you're sitting in a bed of roses with drinking sherbet. He says, I trust and I'm not afraid because mere mortals cannot do anything significant to me, is how I understand it. And we can have the same attitude. Yes, there are going to be people round about us and they may want harm for us. They may attack us. They may twist our words and conspire and lurk and all those things. We may experience that in our lives. But we can say that ultimately, that is not really significant. What is significant is that we're with God, that God has us, that we're trusting in God. And we will endure this for a couple of years, couple of decades even, maybe. But we face an eternity, and we're looking for an eternity where that will be in the past. And it's almost as though David is saying the same thing. These people that are attacking me, I can bear with what they're doing because I know ultimately God has his plans and purposes for me. So even though mortals can do stuff, it doesn't matter. And I pray that our attitude would be able to be the same and that we'd rest in God's protection and provision. Be blessed.